One. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Laughter Yoga Australia. It's December, the year's gone, it's done and dusted 2025. Our podcast guest this month is my very good friend Sharon, or as I call her, Shazza, Gambrill from New South Wales. As with all of the guests so far, I seem to have known them forever. Shazza, I don't remember the first time we met. I always remember the last time we met. It's always engaging, but I don't remember how long ago it was that we first met. Maybe we'll cover that, but I want to go to before the first time we met. So, who was Sharon Shazza Gambrill pre-meeting Merv days?
Oh, well, I barely remember those days. And I do believe we met at the Brisbane Laughter Yoga Wellness Conference in 2014.
Oh, well done. I think you're right. I think you're right.
I believe that's when we met in person, although I knew of you, of course, prior to that.
Very good. And what was
Yes.
Sharon doing before that conference?
Okay. So I had a bit of a health scare in 2011 with breast cancer. And like a lot of people, I had my medical treatment, I had my surgery, I had a full mastectomy just to be completely clear of it, and was dealing with a silicone breast implant and a lot of emotions. And so that was going back to my childhood and growing up and all of those things. And I felt that my health was being affected by my emotional state and by past traumas. And so I was looking into healthy living and laughter yoga just popped up. I've always been involved with laughter and humor. And I have a background as a stand-up comedian and actor. I have put that to one side for the last several years to focus on laughter yoga because I love it so much. I've also been a trivia host, so I love being with people. I did that for over 10 years. I love being with groups of people and getting everyone laughing and having connections. So helping people if they're lonely or if they feel they don't belong. I like to gather people in, whether it's laughter yoga or trivia night and a comedy show, and get everyone laughing for their health and for their well-being. So I looked into laughter yoga. I also looked into an author called Louise Hay
Oh,
from the
yes.
United States, and
Yep.
she was a brilliant pioneer of health and well-being, your emotions and how they affect your immune system, and also affirmations and looking after your nutritional health as well. So I decided after I'd had a year of chemo and a lot of vitamin C IVs to go and study. So 2013 was my year of study, and I became a laughter yoga leader with the wonderful Kylie Willows, who I
Oh,
believe
yes.
is one of two master trainers in Australia. You and her. That's it.
Indeed.
No one
Indeed.
else. So Kylie has now, yes, she's now moved up to the lovely Blue Mountains and has a family and is a practicing clinical psychologist with a master's degree. So when we did our training, she after that training, she passed a lot of early jobs onto me, which was amazing. And I also studied the Louise Hay Heal Your Life workshop teacher training, and a year later, I did their life coach training. I did some Reiki study. I did some EFT tapping, which I always incorporate as a stress relief. And I don't even drink anymore. Stress relief technique at the beginning of my workshops. So I warm everyone up. So EFT tapping is a wonderful stress relief technique as well. And so I did those four modalities, but after several years, laughter yoga was the one that stuck. That's the role that I feel I'm most comfortable in and the most good I can do in the world. So I try to counterbalance what's going on in social media and the news and everything by posting the complete opposite. So that's it. So then in 2017, in January, I went to the United States, to New York, and became a laughter yoga teacher. So I went up to the next step, and that was with the amazing Robert Rivers, who is also a master trainer and a professional mime, and he has studied and facilitates workshops with Tai Chi and Qigong. So he has a good, well-rounded repertoire, and I wanted to go and learn from him. Plus, tax deductible trip, why not? And see some snow. So I went to lovely Vermont and New York and saw some beautiful snow and had a wonderful trip. So ever since really 2000 and early 2014, I've been working in the area of laughter yoga.
Wonderful. So
Yep.
a lot to unpack there. I want to go right back to
Yeah.
the start, something that you
Yeah.
glossed over ever so briefly, your experience
Yes.
with breast cancer. And
Yeah.
then you mentioned in another part, immune system being compromised due to bad emotions. Is there any
Yeah.
chance that you could link your illness to an emotional time that you were going through at that stage?
Absolutely. And
Oh,
also, I think it's a cumulative situation. Um, it's an accumulative situation with stress. It doesn't just mean there's one trigger.
yep.
When I go and get my ultrasounds and mammograms, I always ask the technicians, with all the women you see, is there any particular thing they mention about when they were diagnosed? And they all say the same thing. A year or 2 years or 3 years prior to their diagnosis, they had so much stress, they were exhausted. They either were dealing with aging parents or a business that failed or a divorce or sick children. They were running themselves ragged, every single one. So there's compounding factors. Of course, genetics is a part of it. There's epigenetics, so what happens to our cells in our body, environmental stresses that can affect it on an outside level. So you can have a genetic tendency for something, and it never actuates. But with stress and emotions and the changes in our brain chemistry, which becomes the cortisol levels and all the other stress hormones that come through our body, and our immune system just doesn't work as well. So when we're highly stressed, chronically stressed, or we're even thinking about our childhood or anything that happened that makes us feel unhappy or stressed or worried or fearful or angry, we have this concoction of hormones and chemicals that comes through our bloodstream and goes into our organs. As you well know, from all the studies you've done and all the scientific research that you know about. And so I had this chronic, stressful childhood growing up. I had a mother who was severely depressed, anxious. She had suicide attempts. And I would come home from school and I was a straight A student and the class clown, and I'd find her unconscious. And that happened quite a lot. And sometimes I didn't know what to do and I'd just freeze. Other times I'd get a neighbour and we'd get the ambulance. And it was a very sad time. And my father had disappeared up to Queensland with one of his lady friends, and he'd broken her heart time and time again. It was very stressful, even before I was born. So I came into the world with all this stress and her crying, and it was confusing as well because I wanted to be funny and I wanted to be a child, but I had to take that responsibility on. And as I grew up, I continued to look after my darling mother until she did suicide 24 years ago. So I felt like I was the parent in that situation. And I was very fortunate. I grew up in a lovely part of the northern beaches in Sydney, so I could go to the beach. I could see lovely trees and gardens. And my best friends, who are still my best friends today, one lived next door and the other two lived across the road. So they were part of my childhood. They had lovely fathers. They had nice, stable family environments, and I would go over there, and it was like having a rest. So I grew up always on edge, always on edge, just trying to make sure she was all right. She'd had a very traumatic childhood herself. And so as I get older, understand that the stress she had, she did very, very well to continue as long as she did, and also to raise me as well as she did, because I think she did a very good job. And she was a lovely, kind person, and she had a great sense of humour too. So she loved nature, and she also loved Louise Hay, and she gave me my first Louise Hay book many years ago, and I ignored it right up until I was in hospital, and I was doing all the affirmations just after I'd had my mastectomy, vomiting from the general anaesthetic and the general stress you have, as you know, when you're waiting for a biopsy result. So I've just found all these things have helped even out this stress. And the more I look into it as well, Merv, or I could call you Mervyn, the more formal Mervyn. Are you a Mervyn or are you a Merv?
I've been called many things, Shazza.
Yes. So I'm Shazza and Sharon, and you're Mervyn Mervyn. Perhaps when you were in trouble growing up, you were Mervyn.
Indeed.
Anyway, and did you know there's a movie at the moment called Merv? It's
No,
a
but I
Christmas movie,
no, but I
and it's
will.
about a
I will be
dog.
looking at that. Oh, of course it is. I'll be looking that up. This is not about me.
So
This is
if you
about
start
you.
barking, yes, it is about. Look at me. If you start barking during this podcast, we'll all know why.
I've been called barking mad. So even more to unpack there. So
Yeah.
the childhood situation, and I am not suggesting for a second that cancer is caused by this, or this, but exactly the same as to what you just said, Shazza. I've asked people prior to getting a diagnosis like that, and I've had exactly the same stories back, the chronic sustained periods of stress. The other thing you mentioned,
Yes.
genetics, epigenetics, our little logo here, those lines are all about genetics and
Mm,
epigenetics and DNA. So we are very much
yeah.
in the body, mind, spirit. The science is the little dots, but the epigenetics as well too. So going back to
Yes.
this childhood that doesn't appear to be fun or funny, yet you found
Right.
comedy and you were the class clown. Was that through chance, or was that a balance, or was that a conscious decision?
I
Where
couldn't
did you
help
come
myself. I
to?
couldn't help myself. I was even doing it in high school. So in high school maths, I was good at English, music, drama, public speaking, maths, no. Science, oh, forget it. Although I understand basic science. So I would take my Barbie dolls and a Ken doll into the maths. And this is high school, mind you. And I would have them posing in all sorts of positions on the desk during maths because I didn't understand it. So my right brain works, the left one needs a bit of work. So I couldn't seem to help myself trying to be funny all the time and wanting to be funny and hopefully actually being funny and engaging and lifting people's spirits whatever way I could at the time.
Okay, wonderful. So, moving forward to the diagnosis, that in itself is stressful. So, what was it like? I'm not going to talk about the physical, but I want to talk about the emotional roller coaster that you were going through, which I'm sure many people can relate to. How did you manage that situation going through that rather severe
Mm.
time in your life with the cancer diagnosis?
Yeah. Well, for anyone, it's a horrible, horrible time, whatever your age.
Yeah.
And as I was a bit more on the younger side, in March, April 2011, I felt like it was a huge shock. So it was like I've always been a very in my head person, and I love looking at clouds and trees and beautiful flowers. So it brings you right back into your body, and you have to pay attention. And it's rather a loud and unpleasant thump back into your body. And so for me, that's what I said. I was reading up on the health benefits of laughter while I was going through all that and going, okay, turn the news off. I can't change any of it. It's already happened. And with the internet, of course, we know we see everything all over the world instantly. Whereas in generations gone by, we would just be concerned with the news in our community or in our city or, Australia, wherever you grow up in the world. So we're seeing a bombardment all the time. So you need to, if you're going through any kind of challenge with your health, with your emotions, or if you're working through some childhood stuff or just whatever is going on in your life, to put the news to one side and being part of the social media platforms that promote that. And there's a lot of nasty things. If you want to be involved in politics, that's fine, go ahead. But if you're in the middle of a health diagnosis, don't do it. Just leave all that to the other people and watch funny stuff. Um, Learn laughter yoga and therapeutic laughter and how that can help you through. Also, I'd never done deep breathing exercises. I never knew what that was about. And I realized I've done a lot of shallow, panicky breathing in my life and also doing nice affirmations and calming meditations. And they don't have to be hard. They can be the most simple things of all, where you just close your eyes and you go somewhere beautiful in your mind, and your body and brain communicate as though you're actually there. And so this is nothing I've made up, it's things I've read and learnt about. So try to find ways to calm down and relax. And also people who are what we might call in toxic people or energy vampires, or people who suck the life out of you, um, whoever they are, whether they're a friend, a work colleague, or an immediate family member, or members, people who don't appreciate you, people who betray you, people who hurt you. It's time to move on from them. And you'll find, yep, get them out, because you'll find that more people will be gathered in as you start thinking about your life and yourself. And you have to give to yourself. It's very important. So I started learning to give to myself, to calm down, listening to nice, calm music, and finding nature is very calming for me. So I've always loved the ocean and the beach, and I've grown up near it. So I think I've got salt water in my veins. So I was going down and looking at the ocean any time of the year, and just staring at it. And when we do breathe in all that beautiful sea spray, and you get all the negative ions, and our brain waves start going like this to mimic the ocean, it's very
Mm.
calming. I didn't know all this at the time. And I just look at it and absorb the beautiful blue and the fresh air. And also, if you're standing on sand, you get the electrons from the center of the earth, which is very healthy. So if we get out into nature a lot more often, it's extremely good for us. So we're living in an age, it's not going to go back. We've got technology, and children born today don't know any different. So you can't say, get off that, don't do that. Just try and encourage everyone to get out into nature and turn it off for a while. If you're sensitive too, if you're a sensitive person, if you're a creative person, it's very wise to have some breaks from that. So that's what I found. I had to completely calm down. And Louise Hay wrote an amazing book called You Can Heal Your Life. So I was reading that from cover to cover and going, oh, that makes sense, and that makes sense. And yes, being the mother in the growing up and being, oh dear, worrying, that's what you do with your breast, you nurture, and the body part can completely relate to your emotional state and what's happened in your life. I believe
Right.
it. I think it makes perfect sense.
It should, but
Yeah.
sometimes we forget about the sense and
Yeah.
sensibility of things. And it's interesting, we're actually taping this podcast on the day that they have just banned social media for kids up to the age of 16. And it goes back to getting rid of that constant toxicity of information and overload of information into our lives. So it's ironic that you mentioned getting rid of everything that we can't control and filtering that out. It's actually happened today. Laughter yoga doesn't rely on comedy or jokes, yet you are
No.
a comedian, you are a comic, you're a comedian up until then. How did that transformation go for you from going to, well, I'm going to be the class clown and I'm going to tell you something funny and I'm going to make you laugh, to going down to laughter yoga that doesn't rely on that? What sort of conflict did you have with that?
Yeah, I think with me, because I'd spent about 10 years hosting trivia nights, and there was a period of time, actually, I was fortunate. The chemo I had, because I chose to have the more severe surgery, the chemo I had, I didn't lose my hair. So I was still able to work. I wasn't vomiting. It was just a miracle. So I was able to do trivia 5 nights a week and be fun and engaging, and not many people knew. So I actually had a break from the whole thing. So
Right.
I'd highly recommend, if you're in the middle of some treatment, to take a break from thinking about it, because you can't stop thinking about it to start with. It's just constantly in your face, and you have to deal with it. And you have a barrage of medical appointments and specialists and biopsies, and it's all a very frightening time. But once you get everything under sort of sorted and you've had your surgery, you're in your treatment phase, just try and forget about it and keep looking ahead. Keep looking ahead to something that you can do in the future, whether it's coffee with a friend or going on a nice holiday, or you want to study something. Or I started thinking, oh, I could do Louise Hay teacher training, and I could be laughter yoga teacher. What's that? So for me, I had stopped doing stand up because of my mother's suicide. I tried and gone in and out of it, but I had this weird thing that I had to punish myself because I didn't save her. And comedy and my comedian friends, apart from my childhood girlfriends, they were my best friends in the world, the comedians. So to punish myself for not saving my mother's life, I denied myself the thing that I was enjoying the most and was going somewhere. But fortunately, I got given a trivia night and then another one. And then it was 5 nights a week for a long time. And then sometimes 4 nights a week. So that was, I couldn't do both. So it was like, for me, trivia was bringing me back to myself and to my level of funny or my level of communicating with people. And so with laughter yoga, I still incorporate both sides of me and I make sure that everyone feels relaxed and we work our way into it. We don't just start. So having all those years of communicating with people, I'm able to bring everyone together fairly early on in a laughter yoga workshop or a session. But I found that it wasn't hard because I could combine different parts of myself. This is what's going on my mind. More than one person, but that's all right. They're all nice. And and combine it all. So I make the most of what the talents I have or what abilities I have to bring people together. And so I was able to still be a little bit funny, but then talk about how you don't actually need that outside stimulus of humour to do the laughter yoga, but you can do all of it.
I think you've hit on something really important there because we say you don't need that external stimulus, yet you have been someone who has delivered that. So you've got both sides of the coin to work with there, which leads to my next question, which you've just touched on. But you and I have been doing commercial corporate laughter sessions for an organization for, once again, many, many years. And I'm always jealous because they always say, oh, Sharon was so fantastic. What makes you so fantastic? What is it that you bring to a laughter session, especially the really important commercial ones where there's a lot riding on it? What's so special about the way that you do things in your presentation? I'm going to take notes too, by the way, and steal
Oh, you don't need notes, no. You're
them.
you're my inspiration. You're my hero.
Oh, get on with
Um,
it.
Go on, go on. Um, with me, well, thank you for saying that. I think because it is an unusual type of career move, but I'm fairly unusual. So I think it suits me. And when I do this, I really love it. And I really am very happy to be there. So I think that comes out. I think all those years of presenting myself in creative work and performing type work, I think that is also helpful and all those years of hosting trivia. So I got to know people and I
Wow.
also I was substituting people when a host was sick or something if I had a night off. So I can go into a room of people and bring them all together and help them to feel comfortable and welcome. I think it's important that everyone feels welcome in life. And if you don't feel welcome, you can feel very lonely and it compounds any unhappy childhood you had. So because I didn't have that happiness growing up and all that stress, I like people to feel welcome. I like them to feel connected. I like them to feel uplifted. And if I can help with that as one of my or a couple of my goals of the session, I do that. And also I still try and bring in the warmth and the humor uh, from just my personality and everything I've learned about health and wellness and spirituality over the last 12 years or so. So hopefully it's working and it seems to be. And and I am quite busy, which is wonderful. And also, you know what it's like, you have to adapt to the situation. So if you're with a group of, I love all the seniors festivals, and I'm connected to a number of local councils and out of Sydney councils, and there's carers weeks and there's seniors festivals. And I love helping all of those people feel a little bit better and feel connected when they're lonely or busy or as in seniors, they can become isolated. And in the corporate setting, I change. I have shiny shoes for corporate work, shiny leather shoes,
Here we go.
very smart.
Here we
And
go.
then I wear my more comfortable black shoes for the other jobs. And so I try and incorporate maybe style up a bit. But no, I don't. It's just the shoes change, and that's about it. I
And
tend to just wear the same thing.
that's really important. I got given a hint by a professional speaker. Know your group, and they
Mm.
always said dress the same as them but better. And I think
Yes,
what you've hinted on there is know your group and dress the
yes,
same as them but different. And
yes.
the red shiny shoes is really making a statement there. I always put on my happy socks whether people see them or not. And
Yes.
that's just my little statement that goes, yeah, I'm dressed just like you, but I'm just a little bit different when it comes down to my
You're a little
socks.
bit happier in the foot area.
Indeed.
So my shiny shoes are black. So because of my corporate work,
Yep.
you sometimes come across a particular demographic, usually men of a certain age, and so I have to be in charge. I have to almost be school mumish and think, well, you're paying me to be here, so you may as well join in. And so I find if I'm more formally dressed, tend to just wear all black and black shoes, bit of lipstick, and away I go so that they know I'm in charge and they're going to participate. And eventually I do win them over, but I have to relate to them on their level. But with the lovely seniors and the carers groups and community groups and any sort of community events and a lot of workplace events, end of year parties or wellness activities they do, it's a little bit easier. But for the more formal places like, insurance companies and banks and IT professionals and moo, laugh, so you have to add that element of being in charge.
I hope everybody who's looking at becoming like yourself and being successful in that sphere is taking note of everything that you said because it's all about presentation, presentation, presentation. That gets you through the door. As you said, puts you in charge, which is a really important thing with the group like that. You've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing it for a long time. There must be a story that someone has come up and shared with you for whatever reason at some time. Is the one story that someone has shared with you as a result of your work?
Well, there's different stories, and some of them are fairly personal.
Yep.
Um, but what I like is people come up and say things to me, particularly young women. They say they trust me
Ah,
and they've trusted me. So if I've done a workshop in a business and it's about wellness, or if it's a support group, I've done some hospital support groups, and I can share more of my story. When it's in the corporate sector, I don't even mention it. I just go
yep,
straight in and hit the ground running,
yep,
particularly if it's a 30-minute session. But
yep.
with some counselors and social workers, sometimes I've shared some of my family background or my health background, and people really relate to that. And I've had some lovely conversations with people saying, I just feel so much better. I feel lighter, and I really trusted you. So thank you. And thank you for sharing what you said. As I say, it's not always appropriate to go in and I'm not going to give them a barrage of this is why I do this and this is my background, but sometimes it's appropriate. And that's about learning which groups it is appropriate for and then doing that. So I found that very rewarding to hear that. Only last month, I was up at Mid North Coast, so that was the local health district booked me for Port Macquarie. They had an education day for palliative care specialists, mainly nurses, some doctors, psychologists, and it was a big day. I went at lunchtime and did the afternoon, the final session of the day, and I found that very rewarding to be able to support people who are supporting those at the time of their life when it's coming to an end, and
Mhm.
all of their highs and lows with their work. And I think I had some very nice conversations following my session because it was completely different to the others. All the
Mm.
others were doctors and specialists and psycho. And then I come out and they actually gave me, if you can see in the background, this
Oh, nice.
beautiful picture
Lovely.
as a gift. And
Lovely.
it's called Ocean Calling by
Oh, wow.
Jacinta Danick, an artist.
Oh, wow.
So it might be a bit glary, but I have that on my desk now,
Mm,
and a certificate of appreciation too. So
mm,
there's all sorts of rewards you have, and I've had from laughter yoga, nice conversations, just the general feeling of I feel better. And also when I see these men of a certain age, middle-aged men, and they're like, and I go, "Oh, unfold your arms, come on, join in." And then by the end of it, they're joining in. But what they often like, as you know, towards the end of an hour-long session, we do the guided relaxation,
yep.
and it's a full body relaxation, and I add in things if I feel it's appropriate for the group. And I see these men and they just calm and they're
Mm,
relaxed. If I've done any cancer charities or cancer groups, women working in a company, and it's just an all woman group, and I just find it very rewarding to see everyone calm and relaxed at the end, and they're smiling and they've got this like calmness about them. And I go, yeah, that's the other side of the laughter. We do the laughter, and I do all the breathing and the warming up exercises and the stress relief techniques, and then this calmness. And in a life of stress, it's nice to have moments of calm. You can't have it all the time, it's not realistic, but if I can contribute that for their day, then I'm very happy.
wonderful. And the thing that you mentioned there
Yeah.
is trust. Whenever we get that one person come up after a session and they're coming towards you and you go, this is that one person that wants to share something with me. And when they do, I always say in my mind, why me? And it's often because, you are a vulnerable yet trusting person that's touched them in some deep way and they just want to come up and share something with you. And it's a really special moment. Shazza, I knew our 30 minutes would zoom by. Deliberate pun there. That's me trying to be funny.
Oh,
So thank you for your time. You are a true professional and you've proven that. We'll put some links in as to where
thank
people
you.
can find and
Although I
connect.
haven't always, I just want to, can I just say something, Merv? I
Go.
did not always succeed with laughter yoga. I've been on Weekend Sunrise Catalyst with you, and then
Yeah.
I was booked by Married at First Sight Australia season 12 for a couple called Tony and Morena to bring them in together at their intimacy week. And unfortunately, they didn't stay married. So love and laughter, love and laughter didn't work for that. The whole session was filmed, but unfortunately, it didn't go to air because they were having a lovely time together and they were happy and laughing. And I think the segment was probably too positive for that show. They like conflict. Maybe, but I was disappointed this segment wasn't aired. But I was paid to go on TV and do that. So sorry about that. Married at First Sight Australia didn't quite get that one, but that's
Missed,
probably my only fail.
missed it by that much. Missed
Yeah,
it by that much.
yeah.
Wonderful information, hints, tips. Everyone can hear your passion. They can see how professional you are. Keep doing what you're doing, please, because every time you do it, it elevates us all. So, everybody, little hand clap for my friend Shazza Gambrill. And next time I'm
Heart,
in hearts, indeed. And
heart. That actually, if you put your hand over your heart, I don't know if you can see, and
yep.
you hold it there, it actually stimulates oxytocin in your brain because it sends a message from your heart to your brain as though you're being hugged. So the parts of your brain will light up as though you're hugging someone or they're hugging you. So you don't always need anyone. So you can always calm down, put your hand over your heart. This is very much a Louise Hay technique, but
Ah,
it actually stimulates the oxytocin production, which is it's like the love hormone. So you can always give to yourself.
well
There you
said.
go.
We will
And Merv,
put.
Christmas cracker for you.
Oh, indeed.
I'm going to pull it for both of us. Here, you pull it.
I've got it. I've
Hold
got
on.
it. I've got it.
Yeah. Woo! Happy New Year. And Merry, oh, that smells. Merry Christmas
All
and
right,
happy holidays to everyone.
Shazza, and thank you for your time. It's been invaluable. We'll put in some links how people can get in touch with
Yes.
you in the hope
Yeah.
that if they want to be as good and as great as you
Oh, I
are.
might mention this. I'm going to be doing a new website over the holiday break.
Great.
I had info, SharonGambrill.com is going to become a new website. I've also got my book about therapeutic laughter coming out very soon. And I've delayed putting it out because I wasn't in the right frame of mind, but it's very much a self-help book. So look out for that.
Wonderful. She's even doing the blatant plugs at the end. I love this
Yes,
person
of
and everything
course.
that she does. All right.
Gambrill. So I look forward to seeing anyone on social media that'd like to connect. And Merv has my information and Laughter Yoga Australia, and it's absolutely brilliant to be part of the community. And this is the community Merv or Mervyn has spearheaded in Australia for over 20 years. And thank you very much, Merv, for including me in part of Laughter Yoga Australia.
Good on you, Shazza. Thanks for your time.
Bye bye,
See you
everybody.
soon. Bye bye.
Bye.